Hey, soldiers, everybody's favorite crypto fraudster, Sam Bankman Fried, is out. He's out of jail. He's in America. I heard he kissed the ground when he got off the plane away from the Fox Hill prison in the Bahamas. But anyway, he's out. He came back here to America and it got a record-breaking $250 million bail. Wow. Anyway, he'll be, well, we'll get into it in a second, but let me give you some, now there were no cameras in the courtroom, but I understand from good sources that this is a close approximation of how Sam Bankman Fried reacted once he heard that he was going to Mama's house.
Everything's gonna be alright. I got a feeling everything's gonna be alright. Be alright. Be alright. I'll be alright. Here we go.
All right, but not so fast there, Sam Bankman Fried, because what has also occurred is his buddies, his partners in crime, Ellison and Gary Wang, they're cooperating. They are cooperating with the government, spilling the beans. Two former colleagues of disgraced cryptocurrency mogul Sam Bankman Fried pleaded guilty to federal criminal charges that they helped SBF orchestrate a years-long scheme to defraud investors in FTX, the crypto trading platform that collapsed last month. This is according to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York. The executives, Ellison, who served as chief executive wood-nymph of Alameda Research, a hedge fund owned by Bankman Fried, and Gary Wang, FTX's former chief technology officer, they're cooperating with prosecutors, said Damian Williams. He is, let me tell you a little something about Damian Williams. He's loving this because this is so high profile. And let me tell you, he is out there shopping for Gulfstream jets because what's about to occur in his career is as soon as he throws Sam Bankman Fried in prison for a substantial amount of time, you're going to have law firms coming at him left and right. He's on partner track already. He's going to show up for work 2 days a month and make millions upon millions of dollars. This is how it works with the federal prosecutors. That's why they make plea deals, because nobody knows who Gary Wang is, and very few people know who Ellison is. Everybody sees Sam Bankman Fried as the big fish. Now, this news about them cooperating came as Bankman Fried was being transferred to New York from the Bahamas. He was absolutely apoplectic to get the hell out of the Bahamas. Have you ever met anyone who wanted to leave the Bahamas? Well, Sam Bankman Fried is that guy. He'd been in prison there for over a week. The guilty pleas by Ellison and Wang signaled swiftly mounting legal peril for Bankman Fried as prosecutors assemble an arsenal of evidence against him. We continue to work around the clock, and we are far from done, Williams said in a pre-recorded video announcement Wednesday evening. Let me tell you something about that statement. He's absolutely right. And this is why you never want to get in trouble with the federal government, because they literally can afford to work around the clock. They might even buy a 25th hour in order to work to convict you. They got a limitless budget because remember, they can just print money. You can't. So I believe, now you heard it here first, I think old Sam Bankman Fried is going to plead guilty. I think that's what's going to happen. He just doesn't realize it yet. He's got to get over the emotional scars of being held in the Bahamas, and then he'll come to his senses at some point. Spokesman for Fried, of course, declined to comment about the cooperation by Ellison and Wang. Ellison, who in addition to running Bankman Fried's crypto trading firm, was also his ex-girlfriend. I bet, yeah. You know, once federal indictments start dropping, relationships change. She pleaded guilty to 7 counts that mirror a significant portion of Bankman Fried's indictment. Her charges include conspiracy to commit wire fraud, securities fraud, and commodities fraud, and money laundering. She faces up to 110 years in prison. My God in heaven. If she gets half that, this young lady will be 70 years old by the time she gets out. Wang, co-founder of FTX, pleaded guilty to 4 conspiracy and fraud-related counts. He faces up to 50 years in prison. So if he gets 25, he'll be well into middle age by that time. I think he can come out and immediately apply for Medicare. They are both cooperating with the Southern District. Now remember, we did the video and we said, hey, she's down in Manhattan. She's blocks away from that Javits Federal Building, which houses a FBI office, in which she's just down there getting coffee. I mean, this woman worked in Hong Kong. She's happening of all the coffee shops in all the world. This is the one she ends up at? I don't think so. All right, so Ian Graff, a lawyer for Wang, said his client, quote, has accepted responsibility for his actions and takes seriously his obligations as a cooperating witness, unquote. An attorney for Ellison did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Ellison and Wang, who were both released on a $250,000 bond, inked their plea agreements and formally entered guilty pleas in front of a federal judge in Manhattan at a sealed proceeding. This was on Monday. If they are considered helpful to the case and do not violate the agreements, prosecutors are expected to recommend a lighter sentence, although no sentence can be promised. Whoo, what a position to be in, where you said, hey, look, I got to throw myself on the mercy of these prosecutors and do whatever they say, but you got to walk a fine line because nothing's guaranteed. You could spill the beans and they say, well, you were facing 110 years, but you know what? You look like the type that might be reformable in your late 80s. So we're just going to give you, what, you're 30 now, thereabouts. We'll give you 50 years. The Securities and Exchange Commission on Wednesday also charged Ellison and Wang with fraud, alleging they helped Bankman Fried divert FTX customer funds to the hedge fund while misleading investors about it. The agency also alleges Ellison, acting on Bankman Fried's direction, manipulated the price of FTT, a digital token used by FTX that the executives used to mislead investors about the health of their business. So they made up money. They called it FTT. Remember back in the old days when making up your own money could get you a knock on the door from the Secret Service? So anyway, that's what they did. When FTT and the rest of the house of cards collapsed, Bankman Fried and Ellison and Wang left investors holding the bag. That's what the SEC's Gary Gensler is saying. I've always said Mr. Gensler looks kind of like if 3-card Monty was a person, because he's got some connection here that's a little deeper than just charging these guys, okay? But that may never be fully fleshed out because he is a part of the American oligarchy, the political and corporate apparatus who can do whatever the hell they want and never get touched. If you don't believe me, ask John Corzine. Bankman Fried is accused of orchestrating one of the biggest financial frauds in American history. All right, so let's talk about this record-breaking amount of money that he is out on bond. And where will he be staying when he is, well, now he's out. Where's he going? This is where Sam Bankman Fried will be under house arrest after $250 million bail. When Sam Bankman Fried is out on his record-breaking $250 million bond and under house arrest, he will be taking refuge at Big Mama's house, his parents' house. They got a $4 million home on the edge of the Stanford University campus in Palo Alto, California. I'm going to do a video because there's more. I'm going to do a report. Report sounds much more legitimate than video. People make videos about cats doing stupid tricks. I make reports here at Soldiers of Finance. In any event, I'm going to do a report on the parents because it's looking like they may be in some legal jeopardy. U.S. Judge Gabriel Gorenstein signed off on the deal Thursday, allowing the disgraced FTX founder and ex-CEO, who is staring down a slew of charges which carry a sentence of up to 115 years, to leave New York for his home state. Bankman Fried is 30 years old. Of course, you know the charges: wire fraud, securities fraud, conspiracy, money laundering, campaign finance violations. He's charged of bilking investors out of $1.8 billion. So he will be comfortably ensconced at the Palo Alto home of his parents, blocks away from the Stanford campus. So he's going to be able to get his lattes, brought to him and live in relative comfort. But he better grab a Snickers because 115 years is what he's looking at. And I think with those cooperating witnesses, Wang and Ellison, this might not be looking good for the old boy. He might have to really soak up all of the experience of living as a free man while he can. Because that might be coming to an end. Oh, well, Tyrone, you should give him the presumption of innocence before guilt. I am. I am speculating wildly that he will be convicted. We shall see. And by the way, the presumption of innocence prior to guilt, I do accept that. Okay. But the obligation is on the government, not me. It should be on the media too, because they presume you guilty. Right from the start. Got to sell more ads, right? But hey, I'm fine with presuming Sam Bankman Fried innocent. But look, it's not looking too good, right? Let's just be adults about it. The record-breaking bond would be partially secured by Bankman Fried's parents' interest in their 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom home, which Zillow estimates to be worth $4 million. And that equity would have to be paid within 3 weeks. Ooh. So his parents are reputed to have already said that this whole trial was going to wipe them out, and it's already started. The equity in their home is going to be tapped into in order to secure this bond, which is substantial. The alleged crypto grifter will be able to leave his parents' house for exercise, mental health, and substance abuse treatment. He will also be allowed to shop online, but is banned from making any non-sanctioned payments above $1,000 that aren't legal fees, prosecutors said. Good thing he's going to be allowed to exercise. Several somebodies pointed out that for a vegan, he sure is rotund. But, now he can sit back and he's probably got a steak on his plate right now, outside of the prying eyes of the public. Although close to the college campus, the 3,092 square foot house on a tree-covered lot should offer Bankman Fried some privacy. Yeah, I'm sure privacy is a commodity he really appreciates now, having come off of his stint at the Fox Hill prison. His family's craftsman-style house was built in 1917, according to pasteheritage.org. Records show the family has lived there since the early 90s, but his parents split their time between the U.S. and the Bahamas, where Bankman Fried had been operating FTX. So I guess they'll be living in the house too, because I think they've worn out their welcome in the Bahamas, right? And they can, Sam can say, look, my parents live with me. It's unseemly for a 30-year-old man to live with his parents, so he can say, my parents live with me. It is sure to be a big step up from the rat-infested Bahamian prison where he was being held before his Wednesday extradition. Assistant U.S. Attorney Nick Roos argued in favor of house arrest, saying the fact that Bankman Fried voluntarily consented to extradition from the Bahamas should be given weight. And, the government is going to want to do everything they can so that when they drop anchor on him and he's convicted, there will be no, I wasn't able to properly prepare for my trial because I was being held. There's time enough, guys, okay? This is going to break his parents, who could be deeply involved in this whole scheme he had going on. Now, his $250 million bond is 25 times larger than the collateral that officials demanded from disgraced Ponzi scheme financier Bernie Madoff in 2009. Bankman Fried's charges include illegally using investors' money to buy real estate, fund his trading firm Alameda Research, and make political donations, and also buy that Corolla that he was parading around there and trying to convince everybody that he was just nobody, trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save anybody, Mr. Altruistic. All right, so that is what's going on with old SBF. For now, take a look at his parents and see what kind of legal jeopardy they're in an upcoming video. In the meantime, in between time, guys, I want you to take a look at a video because we've done, now listen, this is not the Sam Bankman Fried channel, But we're doing... It has been uncovered that... That's me talking on another video. We're doing these videos on him because a lot of people thought crypto was the way to go, okay? But we're examining this in detail because we want you to understand what you should be thinking about in terms of due diligence before you invest in anything, not just crypto. But there's a group out there that doesn't have to do any type of proper data reporting. That group's called the U.S. government. Take a look at this video. We're talking about the jobs plan lie and how the jobs that have been created in America have been overestimated by about 99%. Check it out, guys. I'll talk to you soon.